Vape fam, lovely, amazing, original vape fam. What is happening? Joe of All Vapes gracing your presence tonight. We're going to be talking about that wonderful time of every single month that we like to roll through. That is right, Zamplebox time, as if it already wasn't evident. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to be doing a double Zamplebox night tonight, and it is the night here in the PNW. I'm rolling a little bit of the midnight oil. Typically, the way I do it, like I said, I do the previous month's review. We're switching it up a little bit today. I'm going to be doing August and September's, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm going to be doing that. It's a very good reason, so stick with me. Zamplebox is doing some awesome things for a lot of its amazing OG Vape fam, a lot of its subscribers, and I can't wait. Some super exciting stuff. Let me just kind of clear my mind up a little bit and say, incidentally, if this is your first time joining me today, smash on that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the latest and greatest, especially in Zamplebox news, on this episode of Zamplebox 101. You know what I'm saying? So, Zamplebox is doing a brand new gig, and it's starting with the October shipment of your Zamplebox. And if you are not tuned in and subscribed to Zamplebox, by the end of this episode, I guarantee you're going to be thinking double twice. You know what I'm saying? Where am I getting all of my e-juice is what you're going to be saying. If I'm not getting it from Zamplebox, where am I getting it from? You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got stacks of this stuff all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And yes, these are empty boxes, except for these two. Okay, so the new thing that's going to be going on, if you guys haven't heard, is traditionally, and I'm going to go through, we're going to start with our August box. Traditionally, we get and experience the 15 milliliter bottles that Zamplebox has done from the get-go. But because they've gotten so much positive feedback from their subscribers, hey guys, I want a little bit more juice. I'm running out of this stuff. I can't wait for the next month, but I want the fat boys, okay? And Zamplebox heard your humble requests. So from October's box on till infinity, Zamplebox is from this point on going to be shipping out all of their juice in 30 milliliter bottles. That is twice the juice, and it is going to be an awesome new addition to how they do what they do. They really are switching a lot of their production line up, and just the customer service value has always been top notch with these guys. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a different pricing schedule for the three different tiers. Of course, there's still three tiers, and we'll get into that a little bit more into the review of August and September's box. So let's start with August's box. First of all, the one thing that I noticed is a little bit of this kind of like some box fluff. Now, you remember back in the early days when I was doing a lot of these from other companies that shall remain unnamed, they had box fluff, and I'm kind of a sucker for kitschy stuff like this. I really dig box fluff, but August box had something in there that was really super cool. It's this itty bitty little, if I can actually figure this out, you gotta be ambidextrous apparently, little Zamplebox chamois. Now, I particularly suffer from juice fingers about as much as anybody does, especially if you got as much juice on hand as I do. You stick it in your pocket, or if you're me, my food bag or something like, I take to work. And I don't know if anybody else got one of these. I'd like to think that I was singled out, but I'm probably not that spectacular. It's a really cool little addition. Swag is swag. You know what I'm saying? We all love this stuff, okay? So that came with my August box. And of course, you're going to get your, boom, ever popular rating card. And of course, you got your little sponge material going on there. And the tasting menu. I'm not going to get into the tasting menu right this second, but we're going to extricate the box fluff. And one of the newest things that I noticed is, boom, you open up the box and it's a little bit of a different groove, okay? You don't have that black sponge in there separating every single one of the 15 milli bottles. Instead, what you have is basically just a simpler design, single cardboard, little spaced out units right here for the glass and the plastic bottles. I think this is a much more efficient way of doing this. Of course, the box fluff adds just a little bit of spectacular something, a little simpson, if you will. It's just a little additive to make you smile. You know what I'm saying? Joe of All Vapes is always smiling. So we're going to get on to the flavors. And check out the tasting menu. Never mind the notes, okay? Because Joe of All Vapes is suffering from early onset dementia. That's what happens when you have kids, folks. Okay, so hey Joe, ready to get to sampling? Absolutely. Your personalized box has some great flavors, including a tobacco flavor. Stay Zample happy in Springfield. Kathy, hugs and kisses. She didn't put the hugs and kisses on the tasting menu, but there's some hugs and kisses in there, you know what I'm saying? All the Zamplebox family gives Joe the hugs and kisses, okay? It's a mutual thing. So typically on the 3-tier system, they work on gold, silver, and platinum. Those are gone. Bye-bye. They're going for the 3, 6, and the 11 bottle box from this point on. That is how they're going to be referred to as in the tier system. So if you go onto Zamplebox.com, don't look and expect you're going to see the gold, silver, and platinum box special setup tiers anymore. They're keeping it simple from this point on. So this is going to be sort of sliding into that introduction. So typically, same kind of gig. You've seen this stuff before, different flavors, and then it shows the VG to PG ratio on the far right side. The left side is going to be giving you the retail value of these bottles, and once again, all 15 milliliters. So we're looking at El Blanco, Fire Cured Vanilla, Illusion Chill, Nimbus, Root Beer Float, and Sweet Leaf. So the flavor basically is, we're looking at a predominant amount of tobacco flavors. And the reason for that is because I like some of the tobacco flavors. But the cool thing is you can go into your personal profile on Zamplebox.com and you can switch this stuff up any way you like. That is that. Now the El Blanco is from G2 Vapor. That's creamy blackberry tobacco. And I actually conveniently put all of these in order, okay, so we can kind of get to grooving on that one. Now, I've tried stuff from G2 Vapor before. Most of the stuff that I've tried is a very positive experience. The one thing I will say about the Cherry Cobbler, I know it says Cherry Cobbler on the bottle, but it doesn't say that in the description. I'm not going to knock them too hard and heavy for that one, but I will say that for this particular flavor, the tobacco was actually fairly poor in consistency. It was there. The berry was a little bit better than really the tobacco. It was just sort of kind of came out very, very light and washed out, if you will. Not a bad flavor, but they really just topped it off with just a little bit too much watered down flavor. It's just kind of like you know, ordering your favorite drink, spending $27 on it, and getting a buzz that lasts for about 5 minutes. That's pretty much the equivalency of that. Nothing personal to G2. It just didn't come across my taste buds perfectly. But now the next flavor is Fire Cured Vanilla. And this is from Red Rooster out of Wenatchee, Washington. So some PNW boys up there. This one was pretty good. I've tried Red Rooster, have never really disliked anything by Red Rooster. Now, light on the tobacco and light on the vanilla flavor as well. So if you're looking for something that has a good combination of those two flavors, this one's a really good one, especially if you don't like a heavy concentration of a mixture between the two. I like Red Rooster. I think they're good blends, good flavor background, and just kind of floated everything from the bottom up and just kind of stayed in the middle. But it didn't really raise any higher than that in the flavor spectrum. Very light on the flavor, 70% VG, and that's a $13 relative retail price on that bad boy. And you know, I can't even tell you the last time I bought anything e-juice related retail. I don't buy retail e-juice anymore since I've been working with Zamplebox and so many other quality companies out there. So Illusion Chill, this bad boy right here, this one is actually a tobacco and menthol. This one kind of confused me a little bit. It was a good and light tobacco flavor. The menthol on this was absolutely outstanding. Now, I've tried a ton of stuff by Big Heart Vapers. Basic flavors, they really are. The profiles are extremely basic, but the flavor quality has always been fairly superb for Big Heart. Now, the one thing about this is it's a menthol tobacco, like I said, but it's kind of a unique blend. The flavor mixture between these two flavors, it was really, really interesting, and it might just be because of the fact that it's been so long since I've smoked any cigarette, let alone a menthol brand cigarette. And that flavor combination for me, I think, is just, It's really unfair to Big Heart Flavors, I think, just because, you know, my memory brings it back to when I used to smoke cigarettes, and it's just it's a funky experience. Now, I do like the taste of a good tobacco, but when I vape tobacco vapes, if they're high quality, I think more in terms of either a good cigar or a good pipe tobacco. I rarely ever think of cigarettes because the experience was just dead for me. It's not bad. I think the flavors on their own are very good. Mixed didn't really do it for me. Now, Nimbus is a creamy coconut custard. This is from Fat Clouds out of Tacoma, Washington, so a few hours north of moi. This stuff was actually pretty good. I'm a coconut fiend, so if it's a good coconut flavor, I'll really dig into it and sing its praise. This stuff, however, it was good. The light on the coconut flavor, though, and the custard was present. I'll give it that, but I think they could have really oomphed the coconut just a little bit more. Maybe that's me. I've spoken to a lot of people that like coconut. Those that do love it. Those that don't, just plain don't. There's rarely an in-between. I rarely ever meet somebody that says, you know, I like coconut, but just very light flavored. Be honest, I never have. Now, you can smell this stuff right outside of the bottle without even opening the lid. Good flavor. The coconut was present. For me, it was just a little bit too light, but the custard was right on point. So that one was a very solid flavor. I was happy with that stuff. Venom brings you root beer float. Okay, so this one was really good actually. I've tried root beer flavored vapes before in the past, and they sort of have the same kind of quality structure as tobacco vapes do. The thing I liked about the root beer float from Venom is that it had a good spice to the root. You know what I mean? Like those little teeny barrel root beer candies we used to suck on when we were kids. Really a prominent like that, and actually reminded me of Barks root beer, how it kind of has the bite, you know what I'm saying? I think it was a low cream ratio overall. I would have liked to see the cream flavor just risen a little bit. I think it would have cooled that bite out a little bit more and made it more of kind of a confectionery, desserty type of a blend. After all, that's what a root beer float is. It's a dessert, and it needs to be treated as such, okay? So the last but not least flavor out of the August box is Sweet Leaf. Now, Liquid State, we're all familiar with Liquid State, makes really good stuff. This one really didn't do it for me. The last but not least flavor is actually my least favorite out of this box. The peach was good. I don't think it was sweet enough to really chill out and kind of sort of dissipate some of that tannic acid flavor that the tea has a tendency to get. But it was just not sweet enough for me. A little bit too bitter on the tea end. But like I say, the irony of that is that it was very true to tea. But it sort of tasted like I was sucking on a tea bag, and that's not a pleasant experience for me, okay? So all in all, the August box was actually a pretty good box. I liked it more than I disliked it. There's always a variety of flavor in my Zamplebox that I really like over the ones that I kind of don't like. The price differences have changed slightly, but keep in mind the difference between what you were getting to what you're getting now is still phenomenally worth it. We're going to go on to the current September box and bust this bad boy out, okay, on with the foam, okay, you've got the rating card, a couple of swagalicious stickers, as per usual, and got your tasting menu, okay, so a little bit of box fluff, once again, and then the 15 milli bottles, traditionally, okay, so we're going to go through these once more. I'm going to kind of speed through these, but still be a little bit descriptive. So, caramel nuts. So, DLS is the next one. A unique twist on classic horchata, which I love. Absolutely, just kind of that spicy, creamy awesomeness. Awesome stuff. Kaleidoscope, fruit medley with menthol. Anything menthol and fruit is a great combination for me. Crush, a menthol tobacco. So another menthol tobacco. We'll get into that one. Late Night Menu is the next one, which is a caramel vanilla tobacco. An awesome blend. Absolutely awesome. And Mason is the last one. Strawberry lemonade. That would be one of those flavors, those random flavors that typically I wouldn't go out of my way to go to a store and go buy, but they toss them in here every now and then. So that's the randomness that I really dig. So none of these ones are actually lined up where they need to be. So I'm just gonna grab them out. Okay, so 5-Star Juice is the first one here, and that's the caramel nuts. This one was a fantabulous flavor. This was right up my alley. I'm just gonna give it a little. Okay, so the wonderful, amazing thing that I love about a good profile to the consistency is when I can open up the bottle and smell the aroma, the olfactory senses light up because it is exactly described in the scent as it is in the profile. Now the flavor is where it counts though. This stuff, 100% on point. Absolutely awesome flavor. You could really taste a good, rich, buttery caramel wrapped around some nice roasted nuts, maybe a little bit of almond, maybe a little bit of peanut. There was definitely a blend going on there. All I can say is that it was a perfect combination. Sort of reminded me of a sweeter, sort of like a crunch and munch between that and like Cracker Jack. Good stuff, okay? Definitely one of those comfort food vapes. If you ever heard that terminology before, you can use it. Spread the word. Okay, so DLS, a unique twist on classic horchata. Let's see if we can find that one. Okay, so source code. If you guys are not familiar with source code, I've tried a lot of source code stuff. They sort of pride themselves in having a really just a kind of eclectic type of design work and structure and how they do a lot of their artistry on the labeling, but just that much eclectic nature goes into the production value of the mixology. I've never tasted anything from source code that I did not like. The horchata was really, really tasty. It's very light in flavor. For me, it actually tasted more like a very light rice pudding. My grandmother used to make a dynamite rice pudding when I was a kid, and this kind of reminded me a lot of it. But for me, a traditional horchata has that even blended flavor, just kind of that nutty rice flavor, obviously, with a good milky cream finish and just the right amount of spices working in there. This stuff was sort of a lighter, dumbed down version of all that flavor combo in a vape. So good flavor, a little bit too light for the traditional horchata, but you know, I'm not going to split too many hairs. They did a really good job, I think, at coming across with the traditional flavor, just not enough oomph for my old school traditional flavor palette. You know what I mean? So sue me, that's the way I am. Kaleidoscope is the fruit medley, and there we go. Okay, so Master Blends, I actually did a pretty solid review quite a while back, I think in 2015, for the majority of Master Blend stuff. And I don't remember if Kaleidoscope was in there, but a good fruit medley with menthol is always a blessing. Okay, now we are sort of sliding out of summer, the last-ditch efforts of summer, and you know, I'm not crying a little tear over it, man. And in the summertime, it's good to have a nice menthol vape on hand, just because the heat gets a little bit overwhelming, and you know, I'm vaping through most of my menthol. So in the summertime, it's cool because I can go into my Zamplebox profile, adjust it for menthol flavors, and that's what I'll get predominantly. And I'll just say push the menthol, you know what I'm saying? So I get a lot of different menthol combinations. But in the wintertime, the deeper, richer, desserty flavors and some of the tobaccos, the creams and the vanilla blends and the caramels and stuff, I love that stuff because it's like holiday soul food, you know what I mean? It just hits the spot. But the Kaleidoscope was actually pretty good. Now the menthol blend on this was on point. The fruit blend was just a little bit too campy for me. I hate to say this, but the fruit blend tasted kind of cheap, and it was sort of like cheap penny candy cheap. Sweet, it did the job, but that's about it. And it wasn't very impressive to me. And even on the smell pretty much was the exact same thing. The taste, because I'm weird and that's what I do, but the vape was basically where the sort of cross between disappointing and not too disappointing, because the menthol was really, really good, really strong, and I like a really good menthol, really strong menthol. The fruit, totally. I mean, I hated it. Master Blends, nothing personal. You make really good stuff. This just happens to be one of those flavors from a really good brand that I don't like, and I've got those flavors. Everybody's got those flavors. So this is probably going to be one that I'm going to be putting in my please don't resample part of the profile on my Zamplebox profile. Now, Crush is a good menthol tobacco. The Founders Collection is the name of this company, and it's out of Kansas City. I personally have never tried anything from the Founders Collection before this Zamplebox, but the one thing that I will say is that this was a much better blend of menthol and tobacco than the last one that I tried from my August box. It really was just an even blend. The menthol was good quality, not too overbearing. The tobacco was solid. It definitely tasted very traditional in terms of just a good, solid, rich tobacco leaf. Not too overbearing on that either. It was a nice, even blend. Very old school and traditional. This is one that, believe it or not, I would consider vaping again. It was pleasant. Not my cup of tea when it comes to just, you know, man, I really wish I had a good menthol tobacco vape. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you make it right, you make it with quality and just a little bit of heart and love, I'll sing its praises because the quality will come through in the flavor. The Founders Collection did that for me. So they may have changed my mind a little bit on a good menthol tobacco vape combination. So that one was pretty good. Last two coming up here, Late Night Menu is the next flavor. This one is a caramel vanilla tobacco from Vape Street Social out of Long Beach, California. Now, I've actually never tried anything from Vape Street Social. A lot of good stuff comes out of California, so I'm definitely going to give them that one. Looking at the flavor combo here, caramel vanilla tobacco. This was a good, solid vape for me, okay? The caramel came through amazingly rich, and actually the good thing that I love about a good caramel tobacco blend is that when you open the bottle, the caramel should be the first thing you taste. Why is that? Because the tobacco is going to be typically the headiest flavor of any tobacco-esque blend, unless it's a menthol. Then you want it at least evenly blended. But when a good caramel, mind you, overrides even the best tobacco, then it's going to be a solid blend every single time, backed by a little bit of a sweet vanilla blend. Vape Street Social's Late Night Menu, this stuff was really impressive. I could have imagined puffing on a cigar with the same flavor profile and sipping on a little bit of 40-year-old scotch and just with my feet up listening to some Miles Davis, you know what I mean? Really, really good experience. I enjoyed this stuff tremendously. Definitely suggest the Vape Street Social Late Night Menu if you like a good caramel vanilla blend, especially with a little bit of choice scotch, a little bit of bourbon whiskey or something like that. Once again, for those of you 21 and over, suggestive material only for the older vaping connoisseurs, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so Strawberry Queen, bringing up the rear, familiar Strawberry Queen. Okay, these guys are kind of OG at this point. Now, here's kind of the unique thing about this flavor. I typically would never go for a strawberry lemonade vape. This stuff is like candy for me. Literally, if I wasn't gonna vape it, I would drizzle it over ice cream. This stuff is really, really good. The strawberry is so darn on point with this flavor. 70% VG ratio on this one, so obviously you're getting solid cloud production. And, you know, it's Strawberry Queen, so they've always got a solid name for themselves with most of their strawberry blends. But I've tasted so many strawberry lemonade and lemonade flavors in the past, they've all been washed out for me. This one literally redefines it. And it's rare that I ever pump up a flavor from a brand this highly. Go out and buy this stuff without hesitation. It is absolutely delicious. Perfect blend. The lemon is not too tart, not overbearing. The strawberry just brings that tingle from too much lemon acidity, knocks it down a notch, makes it nice and sharp, but still sweet and desirable. It's a perfect combination and great for the summertime hot nights. You know what I'm saying? So 30 milliliter bottles from here on out, folks, from October's box for all of you subscribers, yours truly included. 30 milliliter boxes from this point on. 3, 6, and 11 bottle boxes that are going to be brought to you. Twice as much juice for fractions of the amount that you're already paying. Okay, so the price scale is going to be a little bit different. Like I said, for the 3 bottle boxes, you're going to be spending $29.98, which is a little bit shade different from the original price scale, but you're getting twice as much juice, just as good a quality at what you were spending from the get-go. The second tier is going to be the 6 bottle box. That one's going to run you $33.99. Okay, so like I said, about an $8 to a $9 difference from the gold bottle box, which was the before the new edition and the new setup here that we got going on. So, I mean, literally, we're talking about fractions of the amount. Now, they're giving you twice as much, but they're not charging you twice as much, which I think is a hell of a deal, okay? So now the 11 bottle box, if you can imagine not going through 11 15 milliliter bottles before, try going through 11 30 milliliter bottles now. That's what you're gonna get. And you're gonna be spending about $53.99 on that one, okay? So again, about a $9, an $8 to a $9 difference between the platinum box from before, the 15 milliliter platinum box, to the 11 bottle box with the 30 milliliters this time around, okay? So it's a great deal. You're still getting a massive amount of quality here, and a retail value that is just established a nutso name for Zamplebox and everything that they do. And to sweeten the deal on top of that, I'm gonna give you this awesome discount code, my own personal discount code, okay? Super awesomely sweet, and it's just gonna save you a ton of cash. Here's the skinny, okay? Discount code is going to be JOEVAPES. Doesn't get any simpler than that. You think you guys can remember that? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so go on to Zamplebox.com, start a profile, check out their web store. They're selling hardware, they're selling coils, they're selling tanks, they're selling 30 fat milliliter bottles, 15 milliliters. They're selling 100 milliliter bottles, 120 milliliter bottles, combo packs, brands that we all love and have heard of, other brands that we've never heard of, just has really high acclaim. Okay, they've got editor's picks, they've got Zamplebox Pro picks, which I am one of. Okay, I'm one of the coveted Zamplebox Pros. Thank you very much. Most of you guys are to thank for that. Appreciate that. They've just got some awesome stuff. You use my code JOEVAPES on the Zamplebox store, and it will save you 10% on everything. Everything. Yes, everything. Mods, juice, tanks, drippers, RDAs, RTAs, you name it. Whatever you want to get on that store, it will save you 10%. And get this, you can reuse it as many times as you want. It never expires, and you can use it on subscriptions. Absolutely. And we're even talking about the newly redesigned Z by Zamplebox, ZB Zamplebox Vape Collection, okay? Awesome stuff. Really solid flavors. Okay, now these are flavors specifically from Zamplebox, okay? Now you gotta know that the guys that are already the creators, the originators of the original, very first e-juice subscription service on the market, they're gonna come up with some of the best e-juice available. Am I right? I'm right. Am I right? I'm right. All right. Okay. So, once again, JOEVAPES is going to save you 10% on everything at the Zamplebox store. Check out Zamplebox.com, start a free profile, get yourself hooked up on the skinny. October starts the 30 milliliter boxes, 3, 6, and 11. Check that out. Check out the new pricing scale. You're still going to save a ton of cash, that coveted vape cash. It just goes way too fast, and it'll keep you hanging around, spending more time with your family, more time with your friends, enjoying what you like to enjoy at a responsible level, because you're 21 and over, right? Am I right? I'm right, right? Okay, right. All right, so, and one last thing before I drive you guys just completely nuts. I alluded to this in the description if you read it. I'm actually going to be doing some really cool stuff with the guys over at Zamplebox. Got a phone call from Kevin over at Zamplebox, and my boy Ian and Chris and Jared over at the ZB headquarters want to do a video with little All Vapes, yours truly. We're either going to be doing a Zample Talk edition or just chilling in the Zamplebox cave, you know what I'm saying, over at ZB headquarters. That is going to be an exciting little venture. That's going to be happening sometime around mid-October, coming up here pretty soon. So I'm going to travel up north, hot-footed up there. We're going to chill. We're going to vape. You're going to see me on the Zamplebox YouTube channel, as well as right here. I'm going to advertise the heck out of that. Plus, we've got a big Zamplebox giveaway facilitated by yours truly as well. So much stuff Zamplebox magnificence just strolling along right here happening. It's just an amazing thing. Take a breath, let it all soak in. JOEVAPES, 10% off everything at Zamplebox. Thank you so much for spending this short, long, amazing time with yours truly. Once again, at this Zamplebox 101 episode. This is Joe of All Vapes, your eye in that vaping sky. Stay humble, folks. Love yourselves, love each other, and you keep it eternally, amazingly, tastily cloudy. Hey everybody, this is Joe of All Vapes. Thank you for watching. For the best in vape reviews, pound that subscribe button, and don't forget, vaping saves lives.